Buenos dias, Gunners Collective. Back at it, you already know. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Yeah. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Like a motherfucking ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Like a motherfucking smack addict. Bye-ya. Bye-ya. Orale, as you can tell by that thumbnail right there, they done did that, huh? Very unfortunate situations happen in prison. Very unfortunate situations happen on the calles. But it seems like yesterday, the placas didn't know how to act. Or maybe they did know how to act or react, man. And it ended in the ultimate demise of two individuals. Now, it came across the thread yesterday, and I thought that if for no other reason, I should give my perspective, my touch, my taste on it, and let it be known, man, on that side of the fence, that the individuals that are having to go through whatever they're having to go through, man, we feel you. We feel you, and we rock with you. You know, I know there's a lot of people out here that feel some type of way anytime, somebody dies at the hands of the gun tower. Now, it came to pass yesterday that, I'm looking at my feed and it pops up that two individuals, one very well-known, at least from Northern California, as well as another individual, were actually killed by somebody in the gun tower yesterday in High Desert State Prison. Now, we all know High Desert State Prison is not the one to be played with, okay? There's no jokey jokes there. It's actual, it's factual. It's real talk, it's real life. Anytime you get to a level 4 yard in the state of California, as well as I'm sure any other state, there's no more time to play. It's for reals. It's not for really fakes, right? So the way you proceed, the way you carry yourself, the way you act is going to dictate the program of what's going on. And every time you hit that yard, you're susceptible to being hit. You're susceptible to being smacked on. You're susceptible to a whole lot of things. Now, the cops play by different rules. These individuals that work in these towers are highly trained for the most part, and they know what to look for. If they see any type of altercation, they're not firing warning shots, okay? It says it in big signs when you get to prison, there will be no warning shots. They're letting you know straight up that if you're out there doing a pegada, meaning a hit, if you're out there doing anything, they're not firing warning shots. They're just immediately going to go for the gusto on their CB4 shit, right? And unfortunately, this is what happened yesterday. Now, from what I'm hearing, they're on a statewide lockdown in the state of California right now, and that's protocol. That's usually what happens, especially when a high-ranking individual allegedly is supposedly killed at the hands of law enforcement. Now, when you go to prison, everyone automatically thinks, Sasuke, I gotta watch out, my enemigas here, or the other side, or the adversaries, they're kind of thick, they're deep here, the way that the fucking rules and regulations are going, we have to stand on our own, and we have to watch out. And for the most part, yes, you do. You absolutely do. You got to keep your head on swivelization and watch out what's going on around you. I always tell that to youngsters that are going to prison. They're like, hey, what do I do? Fucking close your fucking mouth and open your eyes. Be aware. Awareness is key in life. When you go to a holiday, a new job, even on the streets, stay aware. Kind of find out who's the riffraff talking shit about the boss. Kind of figure out who's the crew that's fucking just trying to get on by. Who's the hard workers, you know what I mean? And figure out where you're going to fucking fall in the fold. Because that's going to make the difference in your holiday. Well, the same thing is in prison. When you get there, you need to stay aware. Who's doing what? Who's making the moves? Who's making the necessary moves that they have to secure that yard? And you go with the flow. Wherever they need you, that's where you go. So just stand right here. I got you, homie. Posted right here like a thumbtack. That's just how it is. I understand that every man has pride. Every man wants to be that one. And in a perfect world, you can be. But this ain't a perfect world. This is a world dictated by other men. So sometimes you're going to have to bite the bullet, Holmes, grit your teeth, dust yourself off and try again and stand in that fucking corner on poste. And that's just what that is. It's been like that for a long time. It's going to continue to be like that. Okay, now the officers are an adversary as well when you go to prison. In fact, the canine is the biggest adversary, and I'll tell you why. And it's not that you go make moves on them or that you disrespect them, because if you go disrespecting them and bringing their wrath upon you, they will give you that smoke. That's a fact. You can never go against, hey, I ain't going against the guns, right? You can never go against the man with the cuete. He's always going to have the upper hand. When you're working with steel, you're going to be working with lead, right? He ain't playing. These guys definitely have an agenda. Their agenda is establishing the safety and security of that prison, and also to watch any high-ranking individual or any individual they feel is making the moves. Those are the ones that they're targeting. They have targets as well. Okay, so what happened yesterday, supposedly, allegedly, I don't know the full story yet. And I'm definitely, like I said, prison, that's their business in there. But since it's out, I will say this. Two individuals were gunned down by the tower. Now, were they in the middle of doing a pegada? Were they in the middle of doing something heinous to somebody else? I can't call it like an alcoholic. Again, that's their business. Whatever they chose to do on the yard that day, I'm sure was in the best interest of their group or was in the best interest of themselves. You know, no, people are not just going to go out on this yard, homes, and make moves unless it benefits them and theirs. That's just the way it goes, right? But for the tower to react the way they did is normal. You know, there's nothing that he didn't jump the gun. There's nothing fake about this shit. You know, there's real bullets flying just like there's real steel being wielded. That's just how it is. That's prison 101. That's the way to get down. You know, when you walk through that sally port, it's called a sally port when you're walking in a building. You're walking through that sally port, the first thing you see are big signs that say, we do not fire warning shots. No warning shots. They're not warning shit. That is your warning right there. So see that right there? What does that say? I can't read. It says no warning shot. They're not going to give a fucking warning. No, they ain't going to give you a warning, that type of warning shot. They're going to blast your ass with the Mini 14. That's the get down. That's prison. Like I said, not only do you have to be aware of your surroundings and what's going on right in front of you, but you also got to worry about the eye in the sky. And they're watching everything. Now, over the years and decades, that's not going to stop anything. Okay, prison is a dangerous place. It's a place where if you don't carry yourself right, if you got any smut on your name, if you're considered basura, or there's a reasoning behind your removal, it's sanctioned to not be on that said yard, you're going to go one way or the other. You might not go right then because there's too many eyes watching, but you're definitely going to be up out of there. You're out, right? Straight up, off the same plane. So you can't prevent the inevitable. You know what's going to happen? It's going to happen, eh? Just let it go. You can protect yourself. You can secure yourself. Throw some fucking books if you want, like the movies, and go out there and handle your business first. Take flight first. I've been in that situation where I had to get off where I was mad at first. But for the most part, that's not going to stop the violence. That's not going to stop the vengeance. And that's not going to stop the repercussions for what can happen and what will happen. It's going to happen. You know, how it unfolds is literally up to you. Now, there are some instances where you think you're in good standing, you think you're just chilling and everything, and then next thing you know, there's a pico in your ear. How'd that get there? So someone put it there. Now, in this case, when it comes to the point that the placas actually killed two individuals, let me tell you what happens. Okay? Immediately, they're going to take that placa and they're going to move him. He will be gone. He was gone yesterday. They're not going to keep this same cop in the tower. They're going to get him and move him to a different prison. Why? Because he is now, I don't want to say too much, but I'll say this. He has now become a liability for that prison. You know, the focus is on him. A lot of the people that are on these yards, man, they're just handling their business daily. Every day that they do something else, that's another day in the books. That's another day down, another day incarcerated, right? It's not like they're going out of their way to fucking make these placas write more paperwork, or it's not like they're going out of their way to push an agenda, homes. They're just living. That's part of prison. That's part of the get down, especially on a level 4 yard and a place as dangerous and treacherous as high desert. Okay? But just like, you know, we got rules and regulations in life. You know, everybody got bosses on the streets. You got, say, if you work at McDonald's, you know what I mean? You got to answer to that one paisa that's in the bag talking about making the high ground right. You got to do what you got to do, right? That's just how it is. You will answer to somebody. These placas also answer to a higher power. They answer to, they have different levels of this shit. There's captains, lieutenants, and oh my, right? So they definitely will answer to somebody as well. And usually when something like this happens, they get flustered. They put everybody on lockdown. They remove said individual. He gets also removed off the yard. You got to go, buddy. You done killed two people, especially one of them might have a little bit of status or be somebody. I don't know this to be true. I don't want to speak on them people's business, but I will say the word on the curb is an individual that is well known was killed yesterday. Now that makes it worse. That makes it worse because I understand everybody's the same. Okay, in prison, the way the cops look at it, we're all no good. You know, a lot of these officers, they're gonna be on people, and they're gonna focus their attention on somebody that they know is doing things. You know, that's just the way it is. They're trying to prevent any hostility. They're trying to prevent any drama. You know, and some of them are just going to go out of their way because they know that this man has a little bit of clout. This man has a little bit of a sway or push or a little juice on a said yard, they are going to trip on that individual. They're going to target them. Just how it is. You know, there's been instances where, you know, they'll, as you just seen Dub's video, man, where he talked about the perro chatos, right, the bulldogs. There's been, and he's absolutely correct, when there's some instances that they would actually throw bulldogs onto the yard just to see it pop off so they can take a crack or a shot at a certain guy that they knew was doing things. And that's the old Folsom setup. Now, in this situation that happened yesterday, I'm not saying that's the case whatsoever at all. I don't know. You know, I'd be a liar and a fat mouth if I sat here and told you that's what it was, a target, it was a hit, it was an execution, it was all that. Chale, man. It was very unfortunate, though. You know, when it's all said and done, regardless of people promote or support or do not like gang members, it doesn't matter. It's two grown men are no longer on this earth at the hands of another grown man. Now, I understand whatever they may or may not be doing, maybe was fucking dangerous, and maybe this got prevented, you know, something from happening that could have got way worse. But that doesn't change the fact that he decided to squeeze that trigger, man. He went that route, and now two guys are gone. Okay, you have to think about their families, their friends, their loved ones. You know, there's a lot of people that are, I'm sure, are going to be highly upset, or just now today finding out, maybe through this video, or through, you know, a phone call, that their loved one is no longer with us. You know, a lot of these people have respect. In prison, you gain respect. Okay, you're still a man. You're still a person. You still should be treated with respect. Just because you're doing time and just because you've done crime in the past doesn't mean you haven't changed your outlook on life. Doesn't mean you're not worth that praise and that respect that you should have coming. Everybody should be treated. Everybody's human, Holmes. Doesn't matter. Period. That's how I feel. I think everybody should be respected. Everyone got that coming. Now, of course, you know, I don't want to say the individual's name. It's already out there on YouTube. The guy who supposedly was killed at the hands of the tower. I don't know him personally. You know, I've only heard of him. I've only heard about, you know, where he was at and his status and things of that nature. So I don't want to speak his name because I feel that would be very disrespectful to his family and disrespectful to his people, to be throwing his name around like that. But I absolutely respect the fact that, you know, he went out on his shield. He definitely chose that life and was doing what he does, and the Placas took it upon themselves, you know, to prevent, you know, tragedy, and in doing that, tragedy happened. Now, there's been a lot of situations where I've seen bullets fired off from the tower. When I was in Corcoran on the yard, I seen bullets fired off from the tower. You know, I seen this one. I was out of state doing time, and I wanted to tell you guys this story, and this was the setup. This was the ultimate setup, right? This guy actually, literally, utilized the placa in the tower to murder the next man. So what had happened was there was these white boys. There was a guy there. He was claiming Nazi lowriders. Okay, everybody knew maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. He was claiming California. He said he was from Bakersfield. He was a Nazi lowrider. This, and that. Now, this state that I was in, they didn't know anything about that. They just knew that the Nazi lowriders were some buddies in California. So a lot of these white guys that were there, sprinkle in the woods, bro. It's a wood story. Can you believe it, right? A lot of the woods that were there, a lot of the white boys that were there, they didn't consider themselves woods. They were just white boys, and there was different groups. They were from all kinds of different groups. They actually respected this guy and kind of looked up to him because he was a crazy motherfucker. Not only was he crazy and about that business, but the way he carried himself and the politics that he pushed on them, they didn't know. You know, you can't be mad at these guys for not knowing. They just knew one thing was that he was about that shit. He was from California. And these other states, a lot of these other states, not all of them are, you know, every state has their hitters and every state's about their shit. But a lot of them look up to the California game, the California system. So they definitely were looking up to this guy. Well, there was a brother on the yard, a black guy, an Africano, who didn't like him just on GP, just by face value. He knew this white boy was stirring conflict up. This white boy was coming in there and pushing that hate. He was pushing whatever he was pushing. So the black dude started to plot on him. They wanted to remove him from said yard because he was doing way too much. Now, the white guys wasn't going to go out like that. Somewhere along the line, this guy caught wind that this was being planned and wasn't going to go out like that. So the first time he goes out to the yard, after hearing this plot on his life, he walks right up in the mix of the black dudes. They had this fucking table where they used to all sit at, right by the basketball courts. That was their part. It wasn't like it was a norteño, sureño thing, a black thing, a white thing. It was different. People kind of mixed and mingled in the state. You know, whoever you kicked it with, that's how it was. There was like 3 or 4 homeboys. When I say homeboys, I mean norteños. We had our own little table in the corners. Let's get, we don't look at it. We got something. We're going to handle our business quick, right? The Southerners, of course, were on the other side of the yard doing their thing, deep as ever. And then you had the Woods, who were the second deepest group. This guy walked right up into the middle of the group and literally bit this black dude's nose off. I said it. Fill me up with unleaded. He did that. It kicked off. He took flight. He bit old boy's nose off. Facts, right? There was a big melee that ensued. Blacks and whites. We kind of stood back. It was none of our business, but at the same time, we was watching. Yeah, I hold, right? And shots were fired, which is normal. Nobody got hit. Shots were fired. They hit the dirt. You seen the dirt flying. Damn, they're firing shots. This is like that motherfucking movie, fucking Shot Caller, right? They are firing shots. Now, of course, yard automatically locked down. We went on lockdown for a couple days before we were released back to the yard 2 days later. Upon release from the yard, this white guy gets out of the hoyo about a week later after this whole melee happened, right? They couldn't prove that he was the one that did this. Nobody told. I'm surprised, right? Nobody told, and he definitely got up out of there. When he got out of there, he had concocted a plan. And let me tell you what that plan was. That plan was to get off, with the pedazo right under the tower with any black dude that he could find, right? And hopefully stay on him and fucking make it look like he was getting beat up so that the gun tower would shoot the black guy. And that's exactly what happened. He utilized this tower to kill this black dude. He started hitting the black dude, then turned it on and made it look like he was getting beat up. Of course, the black dude was on him, didn't realize what exactly was going on, and got hit in the dome. Facts. I was right there in the yard. I was like, damn, you see that brain? This is your brain on drugs, right? It was an ugly situation, but it happened. The tower, sometimes it's hard for them to distinguish who's doing what, who's the actual victim, who's the actual aggressor. And they're trained, supposedly, I guess, allegedly, to take down the aggressor. Now, it happened in Pelican Bay. We've all seen that infamous riot video where it happened. And a vato from the South was ultimately killed, man. Respects to him and his familia and his peoples. That was another unfortunate event. But they have a history of doing it. Of course, the word on the curb is it happened yesterday to 2 individuals in High Desert. And I could have seen that one coming. High Desert is becoming more and more treacherous and dangerous and gaining a reputation for notoriety, man. They're notorious. Whether it be the black guys or the inmates, man, it's just a notorious place to go and somewhere that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemies, man. And it's unfortunate. I know there's guys in High Desert that are probably going to watch this. I feel for you, homies. I'm glad I never had to go there, man. But anyone who's ever been there has told me the horror stories of what goes on and what is. Anyways, with that being said, gente, it's just unfortunate that 2 individuals yesterday did get killed by the tower. We are on a statewide lockdown as far as the prison system goes. I don't know if they'll lift it today, tomorrow. I'm sure it will be lifted soon. You're not going to hold everybody down. There's a lot of individuals, I'm sure, throughout the state that don't know what's going on, that are wondering, what the fuck are we on lockdown for? So what, we're short of staff again, right? They just don't know. But like I said, it's not like this is the first time this has happened. But the blackers will definitely be looked at differently and walked around lightly because this guy was not playing. He took it to that level and he literally fucking killed someone he might not should have. Without looking into it, but it is what it is, man. They have a job to do. The inmates and convicts are doing what they do, and that's just part of the game, man. That's the way it rolls, and that's the way it works. Anyways, I knew I said I wasn't going to speak on prison too much on my channel anymore, but I felt it for no other reason. I should throw it out there because I have a few more stories to tell, man. Like I said, the prison genre is lacking and it's smacking, but at the same time, I'm attacking when I'm jacking. You know what I mean? I'm going to do what I does, cuz, and I'm going to speak on what I speak on, but I'm going to do it in a respectful manner and show those who got it coming their respect. Why? Because they got at you, gun? No, because it's the right thing to do, Wesley. Period. That's what G's do. Real gangsters recognize real gangsters. Well, you're not a real gangster. I didn't say I was. I said real gangsters recognize real gangsters. And I'll just talk about it. Bang, bang. With that being said, I hope that you move smooth with a purpose. I hope that you get everything that you want coming to you. Remember, at the end of the day, it's all about struggling and striving for your familia. It's all about going out there and getting it for your people, man. It's unfortunate what happens in this world, but, man, shots are firing out every day. You already know, stay on your toes, man. Dot your eyes, cross your T's. Just if you like this, please hit that like and subscribe with a thumbs up. If not, you can hit me with that thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head. That where's the San Jose Sharks crown. You like that? Yeah, you like that. There's about from San Jose. That motherfucker goes. This feels like, man, fuck that hat. Guess what? Bang, bang, motherfucker goes today. You already know what it is, man. I'm all about the unity of all the people. Let's come together. Let's tell our stories. Let's be entertained. But let's understand that this is real life. You already know what it is. I'm out. The gun. Bang, bang. And in that fashion.